A Dutch political commentator says she has been barred from entering Britain. A decision now fueling fresh debate over free speech, immigration control, and the limits of political dissent under Keir Starmer's government. Eva Vlaardingerbroek, a 29-year-old Dutch lawyer and activist, revealed that this week British authorities cancelled her electronic travel authorisation, preventing her from travelling to the UK. The reason given was blunt. Her presence, she was told, was not considered to be conducive to the public good. Those words carry significant weight. They are rarely used, and when they are, they leave no right for appeal. Under UK immigration rules, such a designation effectively shuts the door, requiring a full visa application and granting the Home Secretary broad discretion over who is allowed in and who is not. Vlaardingerbroek believes the decision is political. The ban came into force on January the 13th, just days after she publicly criticised Prime Minister Keir Starmer, attacking his approach to online speech, censorship and illegal migration. In that post, she linked Starmer's crackdown on X and online speech to the abuse of British women and girls by illegal migrant rape gangs. She says the message is clear: criticise the Prime Minister and you may no longer be welcome.
Received this email out of the blue from the United Kingdom government saying that I am not considered conducive to the public good. And so what that means, I really honestly do not know. It's something super subjective, of course, what that means. I also didn't know that that was a requirement to enter a country. And I think it has something to do with the fact that I just criticized Keir Starmer a couple of days ago on X. I don't have a criminal record. I'm not suspected of committing a criminal offense. I was not given a warning. I was not given a fair explanation. And I also don't have an avenue to appeal this, because in that same email, they said that this decision was not open to appeal.
Obviously, free speech is a very different issue here in America, and the Trump administration are incredibly clear about free speech underpins a free, liberal Western democracy. At all costs, they will try and preserve it. What would your message be, Eva, to the President of the United States?
I mean, I wish we had someone like him in power here, because that would mean that we would have freedom of speech. And what I really love about the current administration is that they are paying attention to what is going on in Europe. And I could only urge them to continue to do that. It is, for us, it's a breath of fresh air, and it's something that gives us a lot of hope. So I hope that they also, see that this is something that didn't just happen to me. It's happening a lot to, and it has happened before to other people who are on our side of the political spectrum, let's say.
There's nothing more important than keeping your money and your identity safe online. And with so many VPN options available, choosing the right one can be pretty daunting. But this video's sponsor, ExpressVPN, is making the choice easier for GB News viewers. ExpressVPN is offering up to 75% off, plus 4 extra months free. That's top-level security from just £2.49 a month, and you're covered by their 30-day money-back guarantee. So just click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code now. Remember, when you're online, you are often sharing personal data, so hackers can steal your information, your passwords, your photos, and your bank details in just seconds. But ExpressVPN encrypts your connection, making it virtually impossible for hackers to access your personal information. So why choose ExpressVPN? Well, it couldn't be easier to use. With just one click, you are protected. And ExpressVPN uses military-grade AES 256 encryption, which is the same standard trusted by the US government to guard their classified information. With their new tiered plans, you can protect up to 14 devices at once and manage passwords securely. Live chat support is available 24/7, and it typically connects you in under a minute with a real person. Click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code to get up to 75% off ExpressVPN, plus 4 months extra for free. Start protecting yourself today with ExpressVPN.
The government has not set out specific grounds for the ban, instead relying on its discretionary power to exclude individuals deemed likely to undermine public order or social cohesion. Such powers have historically been used against extremist preachers or figures accused of inciting violence. Commentator and GB News presenter Matt Goodwin criticised the decision online, suggesting that the UK was willing to bar a conservative influencer while allowing other controversial figures to enter. Vlaardingerbroek rose to prominence in the Netherlands as a fierce critic of globalism, mass migration and supranational governance. later gaining an international audience through speeches, interviews, and social media.
Customs, craftsmanship, religion, tradition, all landmarks that used to give Western men some sort of guidance and a sense of identity have been under massive attack, and some might say even willfully destroyed. And as a result, we now live in a globalized world without any physical or moral borders, leaving most of us permanently confused, disoriented, and isolated.
Her advocacy for remigration policies, calling for stricter border enforcement and removals, has drawn accusations of extremism from her opponents. Her supporters, however, argue that her views fall squarely within legitimate political debate, and that silencing them only deepens mistrust in institutions. The Home Office has declined to comment on Eva's individual case, but the decision has already sparked concern amongst free speech advocates, who argue that Britain's reputation as an open society is being quietly eroded. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán has criticised the ban as political, republishing her post and saying she is always welcome in Hungary, implying that the UK's position is a suppression of dissent. The Labour government's action has sparked speculation over whether criticism alone is now enough to trigger exclusion from the UK, and if so, where does the threshold now sit?
I think this shows a complete problem with the priorities of Keir Starmer and his government. We still have a massive problem with illegal immigrants arriving, and then we, as you just said a moment ago, we're housing them, we're feeding them, etc. And yet he is so concerned, and the system is so concerned that they're stopping and blocking a commentator. And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier about this fundamental misunderstanding of free speech and how important it is to democracy. And he is so blinded by ideology, as are his party, that they're not standing up for that. And I worry about these incidents and what that says about modern Britain to the rest of the world and our position on the global stage.
Richard Goldstein, your assessment of this situation, because I do find regularly in this studio people on the left, on the right in America actually agree that you should be allowed to say what you want.
Right. Look, she's against feminism, she's against abortion, she's in favor of Russia over Ukraine. There's a lot of things that she said that are offensive to many, but
not against feminism.
That's not a reason to ban
his version of feminism.
That is not a reason to ban her. And I think, again, you're only drawing more attention, frankly, to her point of view by doing that. So it's frankly counterproductive. I disagree.
Tim?
Well, if you don't have a fundamental right to free speech, then I guess you're able to silence opposition and use that to your political advantage. That's exactly what Sir Keir Starmer is doing at this point. He continues to silence people. He lets the colleges do it. He lets the schools do it. And it serves his purpose politically. However, they're not out of it yet. They still have access to the internet. They can still see what's going on outside of it. It's not North Korea yet. But man, if you keep going down this road, it will be soon.
Supporters of the ban say governments must act preemptively, preventing figures who may inflame tensions from entering the country at all. They argue that freedom of speech does not guarantee freedom of access, especially when community cohesion is at stake. But opponents counter that such reasoning risks turning immigration controls into a political filter, one that could be applied unevenly without transparency. For now, the ban remains in place. No appeal, no timetable for review, just a single line, not conducive to the public good, carrying consequences far beyond one individual. As Britain debates who it lets in and shuts out, this case has become a flashpoint between security and liberty, between control and openness, and between a government asserting authority and critics warning of a narrowing space for dissent.